feel the flow. Enter the stage. Hello, it's showtime.
Hey, welcome LA. 10 p.m. I think it's in LA. Yes, right?
Yeah, it's 10 p.m.
So, Friday night and you have to work. Sitting together with a fine liquids community. Brilliant. So, welcome to the show. Today, we provide a fine liquids community talk, and we won't talk to a water brand. No, we will talk about water itself. Water that you all know, water which is coming out of your tap. So, and that's it. We are talking about tap water. And before we start, I just want to say this is the first time we try to bring this show not only live on Twitch TV, we will have it on Instagram too. This is the first time, so just to check that out, just to test it, and I hope this will work fine. So just do it. So welcome. Tokyo 2020-21, Mrs. Ruriko Suzuki. Here we go. The Olympic City. And hello to Mr. Milind Patel, London. And hello to Justin Takashi Glasgow in LA. Here we go. So I think after these introducing words, tap water is something everybody is in touch with. And people who are not in touch with tap water should be in touch with, because if you don't have tap water, you have a big problem in your life. And I think there are many people without tap water. And I think we have many people with tap water. And sometimes tap water is really cool and clever and pure and clean and safe, but sometimes not. And so this is a show where we want to give you an overview over the aspects from tap water. And so round number one, free for you. Cheers, everybody, and have a nice show today.
Brilliant. Thank you for the intro, Pat. I'd say today's show's very interesting, and I think it's the real core of what we do and why we do it. And I must say that tap water, to myself, is a very important aspect of life and to others. And I believe there is a massive divide worldwide between the haves of having tap water and the have-nots of not having tap water, or clean, reliable source of tap water. So, there's a lot of charities and a lot of work by some of the charities we work with, WaterAid, Viva Con Agua, and the UN, in regards to tap water. And some say it's acceptable for individuals to travel, say, 30 minutes to travel to pick up water, so that might be from a special place where they can go and receive this water, but it's 30 minutes out of a child and adult's day to go and travel to a communal watering area to pick up their water and take it back to their home. But there's no guarantee that water could be clean or safe. But as for us in Heidelberg, Germany, in LA, in Tokyo, literally it could take me 30 seconds to go to the tap. And, and that's the product. Within 30 seconds this morning, that was the product that I have, and it's clean, safe, reliable Thames water, which I can drink. So without this, I don't know what life would be. Very, very difficult. Life would be very different. And I don't even think we could even have this conversation if I didn't have access to clean, safe, reliable water. So I think today's show is very important, very special. And over to you. What does tap water mean to you?
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of daily norm that we have these, but at the same time, we are taking advantage that we have these on our daily life. But as you mentioned earlier, so we are so fortunate that we have this because there's multi billions people that's out there in the world who can't access to these clean water, like all of us who are talking right now here. I believe having access to the water 30 seconds, you know, down the hall. Yeah, and you get to have these nice, safely regulated water by the our country. So yeah, so as what Pat mentioned, I think this is really an honor experience, and without this, I don't think we existed here today. As a sommelier or water specialist. So
Well said, Justin. That's really well said. Thank you.
Yeah, I think one big problem is that kids are growing up here in Western civilization, and they think it's normal. They grew up in a world where they think water that comes through the tap, in the shower, in the bathroom, everywhere, in the garden for the flowers. Um, it's so normal for them, and it was so normal to me. And for most of the people don't know that the system of tap water in a country is a real big thing, and sometimes it does not work correct and right. And but this is nothing the people know. They always think, hey, it's very normal. Just open the tap, get your tap water, and everything is cool because hey, we are paying, therefore it must be here. But it's not normal. It's normal when everything is good and when everything is okay. But this is not. It is not normal. So that's it.
And over to Ruriko.
ルリコさん、
はい。
はい、じゃあ水道水についてちょっとじゃあ、一
水道水について。
言。はい。
どこから話せばいいですかね。日本の水道水は、安心安全で、水道をひねったら飲むことができる国です。
So Japan is very, very safe with the tap water, and once you go to your sink, you can access to a safe water in less than 30 seconds.
私たち日本人は、日本の水道水は、世界一きれいだ、安心だ、安全だというような認識を持っていますが、でも実際は、アメリカもイギリスもドイツも、とても自治体だったり、その水道の会社が頑張っていて、きれいな水だと私は思っています。
So in Japan, we believe that Japan has one of the best tap water in the world. However, Rico believes that all the country that has a safe, accessible water has their amazing water or tap water source because each of these country works very, very hard for their people to have a safe and clean drinkable water.
今日はその水道のもともとのお水がどこから来ているのかというようなお話だったり、どんな殺菌方法をしているのか、それぞれの国の違いを皆さんで話ができれば、とても充実した時間になると思います。
So today we like to discuss about how or where we can access to these clean waters at each of our countries and how we make them clean or to make it drinkable and such.
以上です。
Fantastic. So I think our relationship with tap water. So in my region in London, we have a supplier called Thames Water, and where I live, and I'm going to share something with you. I think my passion for water is probably stemmed from where I live near London. So around me, where my house is, there's a number of huge reservoirs and some of the first treatment plants that supply London. So very close to my house are very, very large reservoirs, and some of the treatment plants dating back to sort of the 1850s, 1900s. So these were the first style of large treatment plants where they used to use sand for filtration, gravity filtration. So growing up in this area, I'm surrounded by water and very nice, grand looking water treatment plants. So the Victorian days, when they were building this, they took a lot of care and a lot of pride, and they built beautiful, like these buildings are absolutely stunning, of these water treatment plants, knowing that if we can get this right, we can build beautiful cities and sustainable cities. And from those times, they got it right, and built this, the city of London with this beautiful water network. However, over time, things need upgrading, the networks get a lot bigger, and the advancement of treatment needs to occur. So I must say that the water is highly, highly regulated in the UK, and from my understanding, that the tap water that comes from my tap has a lower level of, say, microbiological growth than is allowed into, say, bottled water. So, in essence, the tap water is more regulated than the bottled water, if that makes sense. So, just to put it into perspective, that it's a very, very safe product where I live. However, some individuals don't like the taste or the hardness because it's very hard where we live. So I just really wanted to sort of understand what makes your water in your areas safe and reliable, and maybe a little bit of history.
Yeah, we had in Germany these the thing is it's coming from the Romanians. They brought us water network, and this was one of the first things, next to streets, next to the first spas and stuff like that. Spas and water network are very close to each other. But today, in Germany, it's just as you said, it's the same thing. The tap water is the highest regulated thing in food industry, and I'm really very, very proud to have that, because it's really necessary. It's good for the families. It's good for everybody. But yes, it's depending on the region where you live. Sometimes you can be a lucky guy, and sometimes you have water which smells not good, smells a little bit like chlorine. It does not taste very well. Sometimes it's not depending on the region. Sometimes it's depending on the system in your house. So there are so many different possibilities of changing taste, changing smell. But all in all, most of the people don't know where the water is coming from. They just open the tap and think, this is tap water. It must be the same water everywhere. But in Germany, we have water suppliers, and these water suppliers have to take decisions how they bring the best water they can in this village, in this city, in that country. And so they always think about, hey, what can we do? Can we take water from that inland lake? Can we take water from that well? Can we mix that both for this village? And this is what they do. And so people often don't know, hey, we got water from that inland lake in the last 2 years, but since 1 year, we are becoming water from that well. And they don't know that because the water suppliers don't have to tell the people where the water is coming from. But so this is something behind, and behind the story, behind the tap, behind opening the tap is a real big story most of the people don't know about.
Yeah, that's a very true point.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I do believe so too. And Pat, you did mention several good things, especially about the tap water. So it's actually an interesting fact that you brought about the water. I know was coming from Romanian So that's something very interesting. In here in California, we have several sources of water. One coming from the Colorado, so Colorado River. We do have one source from the deep well. We do have a water plant. There's actually at least 24 water plants located in California, and depending on the certain region you live, then and you can always look up where your water is coming from out of those 24, and they are highly guaranteed that your water quality is very safe. And just what Pat also definitely what Millen also mentioned, our tap water is extremely safe, and this is also considered one of the biggest invention, which is chlorine, and this is actually what created our water very safe and protecting from these pathogens.
Yes.
So please keep that in mind. Tap water, a lot of people thinks that it tastes bad, and because of that, it's bad for your body. It's actually very opposite. This is actually what's protecting us. So so that's what I want to mention.ルリコさん、日本の水道水事情について少し語っていただけますか。
はい。日本の水道の水源で使われている水というのは、主に、河川の水、ダムに溜められた水、湖、沼に溜められた水、それから井戸水が使われている地域もあります。地域によって違いがあります。
Okay, so in Japan, at least there are many types of the source of water. So one that is coming from the dam, one's coming from lake, one comes from like a deep well. So there's like all these sources. Also, she also mentioned coming from, you said from swamp, even. Yeah, so there are very, very, huge variety of sources you can get a water from.
Very good, very good. I think with all of these sources, it does go through some treatment. And here in London, it's a big city, no doubt. And they do say that, hopefully this doesn't sound disgusting, but it's the facts. But each glass of, say, Thames water here may have passed through someone, an individual drinks, and then it goes through the process system maybe 7 times before you drink this. So to most people, that's, oh my God, that's disgusting, that's horrible. But be grateful for the technologies that can clean water. And there's no way of escaping this, okay? The amount of water that's been on this earth has been the same since the beginning, even before the dinosaurs, the Big Bang that created this earth. So this water is constantly and constantly, beautifully going through the cycle. So this water here that I'm drinking, probably a T-Rex has had some of this water, urinated it, and today Thames Water have processed it, so it's clean for me to drink, just to put it in perspective. So, the amount of tech, filtration, regulation that's gone into this is fantastic. But touching on that taste element of people's perceptions of, oh, drinking the tap water is not good or it doesn't taste great, that genuinely comes down to region by region that we've just mentioned. So if you live in a hard water area, depending on the geology of the area, it will have more minerals in it. The TDS, the total dissolved solids, the calcium, magnesium will be higher. So it will give the water a different mouthfeel, a different taste. But then where I live, due to the size of the networks and the age of the networks, they do add chlorine. And some days you can taste it. I drink tap water every day. And then some days it's a bit less. So it's not overwhelming because I'm a tap water drinker. So, it's not so overpowering, but there are things that you can do to improve the taste. And that's either taking the water from the tap, leaving it to sit and then I find that small taste of chlorine reduces. So I think it all depends on where you live, like you said, Pat, the geology of the local catchment area that supplies the water, and that sort of taste profile. However, in my opinion, tap water in most areas, if it's regulated well, has more tests and more regulation than your bottled waters. And plus, sometimes with the lower brands of bottled water, the commoditized bottled water, made in a factory, that all it is tap water. I think that's wrong to be sold as or marketed as a better product than tap water, which is very wrong.
Yeah, definitely. The tap water sold in the so like a lot of the filtered water that's sold in a plastic bottle. Uh, so I mean, people think it's cheap to buy, but just so you know, you do have exactly same sort of a water access right in front of you,
Yep.
like this. So enjoy this.
So in LA at the moment, when I was living there many years ago, sort of mid 90s, I lived in LA and in Florida. So in some areas, you'd go to, say, your Ralph's or your Publix superstores. Do they still have those water filtration units outside the store where people can go with their jugs and purchase water
Oh
for
yeah,
25 cents a gallon or something like that? It was back in the day.
oh yeah. Not all the places, but you will see in some major locations. There's a lot of locations that people bring their own little bucket, not
Yep.
bucket, but like a little carry on. In a they buy a filtered water from the machine, or yeah.
Yeah,
And if you,
this is something trending in Germany too, just actually in the moment, because in northern of Germany we have a pesticide problem with the tap water for years and years, and everybody knows that, and they're working on that. But there are many people going to places they call Wassertankstelle. So it's just mentioned to where you can get gasoline. So you go with your gallon and yeah, just buy filtered water. It's trending here in Germany, and what I think this is people are aware of, hey, is this water safe for me, for my family? And this is the first step. So there are some secrets behind opening the tap, and secrets after you opened the tap. So I think it's a secret for most of the people. What you just said, Milin, the water cycle. How old is that? Everybody thinks, oh, this is my first sip of water. No, it is not. There are so many secrets, and people are getting aware of that when they first get in touch with small problems. And when you think about the small problems, you're coming to find solutions because you won't be okay with problems with your water at home. And so people are getting more and more conscious about what and how they work with their water at home, because hey, water is so cheap. You can open all your taps and water is running through and it costs nothing. But when you first think about what are you doing here, you are coming into a new thinking about water. And I think this is what we do here. We are helping people open their eyes. And yes, I think you are right when you say, hey, water in most of the countries is a regulated good. But through the regulation and through all treatments, we still have the problem of residues from medicamental residues, drug residues, microplastic residues. So these are micro particles which are going under through these treatments. These things are coming with the tap water in your home, and So, and this is something where you have to think about what are you doing with your tap water at home? Is it okay for you just as it is? So, in Germany, you can ask your water supplier for a water analysis. You can ask them, "Hey, what's my water?" And you can read sheet by sheet by sheet what is inside, and then you can Google, hey, what is this, what is that,
Yeah.
how much is this, how much is that, is that okay for me? And if everything is okay for you, brilliant, thank God. If not, you have to make a decision. You have to decide, hey, what kind of filtration is good for me and for my house? Just an carbon filter, maybe silver coated. Maybe I want to buy a water ionizer to bring hydrogen into the water to add some value more, or is it just a reverse osmosis filter? So you have to think about what is necessary to you, or what is not necessary to you. So I think there are many people are getting old without any filtration because they are lucky guys, they have good water. And on the other hand, and this is the last thing I want to say, this is a luxury problem when you can talk about how to filter or how to treat your water at home, because
Yeah.
in so many regions on our planet, this is not the question. The question is, where can I get water? And
Yeah.
and I have to take the water I can get.
Yeah.
And I think this is something we have to look at too, because this is not a problem of planet Earth. This is a problem of companies which are causing these problems, because these companies are buying all the sources, all the wells in the poorer countries, so that they can take these water for producing beverages, and the people there don't get any more of their own water. And institutions like Viva Con Agua have to go there and build new wells, bore new wells. So, and this is something which irritates me so much, that there is no institution who can end that, to say, hey, you big company, you cannot steal the water from the people. And this is what they're doing. They steal the water from the people. They don't have tap water. Think about that. Crazy.
It's true, and it happens a lot. Just quickly over to Rurika, if you don't mind, Justin. Just in regards to like the drinking water trend, is it majority of people that live in Japan, Tokyo, go straight to the tap, or is it a similar setup? They will go and fill up jugs, or what is the trend in Japan for tap water?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
ルリコさん、日本では、水道水事情なんですけれども、やっぱりその家の蛇口から、まあ、実際にコップを取って飲んだりしたり、もしくは外で、そういった水道水を補給する施設を使って、お水を取りに行く人とか、まあ、実際どのような割合かご存知でしょうか？
割合はちょっとわからない。取りに行く人ですよね。
まあ、割合じゃなくとも、まあ、実際に、どんなライフスタイルっていうのが。
はい。大体の方は、おそらくですけど、ほとんどの方は、普通に、水道水の水をお料理にも使いますし、それからもちろん洗面、洗顔、トイレ、お風呂など、とにかく生活全般に使いますけど、一番、水を使う割合的に考えると、お風呂がダントツだと思います。お風呂の水で水道水は一番使われています。
飲む方はちなみにどうですか？
飲む方はですね、多分地域差があると思います。です
例えば
ね、
東京とかどうでしょ
東京は、やっとここ10年ぐらいで水を買う文化というのが少しずつ根付いてきているんです。で、その前、東日本大震災の前は、そんなに水を買って飲むっていうことよりも、水道水に浄水器をつけて使っている方の方が多かったと思います。
う？はい。Okay. So in Japan, so the main way of Japan for Japanese people to use for consumption. So the trend has changed quite a bit in Japan. So before the earthquake of the 2011 hit, so people were actually drinking from the tap, using like a filtration system. That was kind of one of the main trend back then. However, after the 2011, uh, I think that trend has changed quite a bit, and people started purchasing more the bottled waters from the closest the convenience store or grocery shop. But besides that, the tap water has been used a lot in Japan's kind of daily life. For instance, like cooking. For instance, Japanese people takes a lot of bath, like a hot tub at home. So they use those tap waters to take a bath, for instance.
That's a very interesting point after after the earthquakes that had hit Japan, that sort of trend, and I guess I've experienced an earthquake in Los Angeles myself, and so yeah, it does cause a huge amount of disruption to the utilities and the water distribution system, and people's sort of understanding that elements of that distribution may have been disrupted, and they're focused on to say a more bottled water supply until distribution comes back on and to a safe, reliable source. So I found that pretty interesting that you could go from safe, reliable tap water, but then a natural disaster occurs, and then it's that shift back to say bottled water. I find that so interesting. Um, has that trend now gone back to tap water, or is it still for the Japanese people's opinion that they would prefer the bottled over tap water for drinking?
Yeah, she did mention that. She did also mention that this really varies depending on the region.
Right.
But that's something I'm also interested to.ルリコさん、日本、先ほどその水道水、以前は蛇口から、そのフィルターかけて飲んで、今はそのボトルで飲むっていうのがやっぱトレンドになってきますが、やっぱりその一部の地域でも、その蛇口から飲むっていうものとやっぱ根付いてる文化っていうのはまだやっぱある。
あります。はい、ありますね。地方から東京に、大学進学のために出てきた、学生さんなんかは、なぜ東京の人は水を買うんですかということを聞かれたことがあります。やはり水道水で普通にコップから蛇口を回して、飲んでいるというようなことは日常的に行われています。
Oh, so this is interesting. So, for instance, a lot of the country kids get out of their home and they come to Tokyo to go to college, for instance. And one of the biggest questions that arises them is why people in Tokyo is not drinking tap water. It's delicious and safe. So, for instance, if you go to countryside, tap water is actually a norm in their life.
Yeah. So with this conversation, I think this is awesome. I just see something there. Is it a case of where you're living in the larger cities that you're more directed to say a bottled water or a water of a additional filtered source, if it's filtration in your house, etc. And then out in the rural areas where they have a bit more confidence, where the population may not be as large, the treatment facilities, etc., the distribution may be smaller. It's people's understanding that it's a lot safer and it may have less contaminants or taste or taint issues. So that's pretty interesting. I think here in the UK, what I notice, and this is just my opinion, we live in a huge multicultural society in London, especially. Okay, so people born, say, in the UK have a respect of tap water. Yes, it's safe, you can drink this. However, where we have individuals from other countries if it's say Africa, South America, other parts of Europe, etc., they, from what I see, and this is only my opinion, what I notice is that they bring that drinking water culture with them, where they've been brought up in an area where it's potentially not safe to drink. That mindset is brought to the UK. Oh, we shouldn't drink tap water. It's not great. Or, oh, it may taste in a certain way. But that's just the taste of the local area. So when I go shopping, I watch people buy bottled water. Okay. And when you go to the Sam's Clubs in America, we call Costco, I notice people, and Rico shops at Costco as well because we share details. But what I notice is where you have the plastic, cheap plastic bottled water for drinking, I see people of different cultures going there and buying trolley loads. And I know full well that this is from their upbringing of the regions that they've lived in. And it's that mindset, it's that way of drinking water that they adapt here in the UK. And I just so want to just tap them on the shoulder and just say, hey, by the way, the tap water in London is safe to drink. But however, if you don't feel comfortable with it, there's some really good, low cost, reliable filtration that will make your tap water taste so awesome. You can save a huge amount of money for your family, do a benefit for the environment, and also be proud of drinking tap water. So I just wanted to add that it's also from region, cultural, so many elements of this, but it's what I notice.
Now that's a really interesting.
In Germany, we have we lost so many opened wells, opened sources where people can go to and collect water for themselves. They went smaller, and the number of sources is getting lost. But so many people are going there and collect their water in gallons and gallons and gallons, putting their cars full of. And when I talk to them, they say, no, this is not just for the flowers. This is for tea. This is for cooking. This is for drinking. And when I say to them, hey, you don't know what this water is coming from. Nobody is looking for that water. Do you check the water for yourself? Do you check it? No, this is from nature. This must be very good. And I know, hey, come on, look around, look where you are living. Think about what this water should be for you. And it's just as you said, Milan, that most of people who are working like this don't trust the tap water. They don't trust. So sorry for interrupting you. Back to you, Justin.
Oh no, it's okay. Yeah. I totally blanked out what I was gonna say, but
Take a sip of water. It'll come back to you.
yeah. But yeah, that is it. And what Melon mentioned earlier about the multicultural. So Los Angeles is actually like that. It's like a little, it's like a mini Earth, very metropolitan. So we have a lot of people coming from different cultures with a different mindset. So I really thought that was really interesting that you really brought that up about some people from their culture, probably from their own originated countries, maybe the tap water is not safe. So when they come to America, they purchase plastic bottled waters. So I thought that was a really interesting observation. And just so you know, I know a lot of people is thinking America has safe water because I'm talking about this, but it's not really. There's actually several states like Flint, Michigan. There's water that's not safe to drink. Uh, there's also one state in Louisiana. I believe the place is called Charlotte, but that place also has unsafe water. So the tap water comes out red, which means it has high volumes of lead, which is actually toxic for the human consumption. So 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 it's not everywhere you drink in California, not California, but in the United
Yeah.
States, it doesn't mean that's always safe.
Um, just as you said, I several minutes ago I thought about who was it? Who was it? Oh, where was this scandal? And then I thought, oh yes, it was Michigan. And then I
Yeah.
thought, who was the guy who told the scandal? Who was it? Bowling for Columbine. Who was it? It was Michael Moore.
More,
So,
that's right.
Yeah.
just watch this movie about the scandal of Michigan, because I think it's necessary to say sometimes it's not the nature, because people Michigan had access to clean water because they had from this real big lake around
Yeah.
Michigan, and this
Yeah.
water is perfect for drinking for humans. But what happened? The politicians said, okay, you will no get longer water from this lake, you will get water from that,
Funny.
and we say this is good for you. So, and that's it. It's a big scandal, and it's very hard movie I saw. It's a documentation from Michael Moore. I don't know the name, but it's good to see that, because sometimes it's better what people are doing than not to know, because in Michigan people are really getting ill from that water. So that's bad.
Definitely.
And on the other hand, there is one more aspect I want to add. Malin told me I should watch Brave Blue World months
Yes.
ago, and I saw this film. It's narrated by who is that man? Who narrated this movie? It's a guy from Hollywood.
Yeah. Oh,
He's big in environmental working. He made that movie.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Okay, but it's a point about recollecting water. They are talking about a company which is working on and doing. They already have that technology to recollect water that is coming from the sky, rainwater which is coming on your roof, so that you don't lose the water you get from the sky. This water is going into your water cycle in the house, and your water which would get lost, yeah, they recollect it in your house. And this technology is made for your house. It's made for big institutions, for companies, for villages, for cities. And I think we will have this will be a big topic in the next 5 to 10 years, because when you see what now is happening in Germany and in Belgium with these massive rainfalls, on the one
Very
hand,
sad.
it's destructive and aggressive. On the other hand, it's really necessary to recollect all this water so that it does not get lost. Because when water from our houses getting into the treatment plants, we are losing that water into our rivers, and the rivers are bringing that water unused back to the ocean. And this is something where all the countries in the world are losing their drinking water, because nobody really thinks about recollecting the water we still have.
Yeah, definitely. I think from my point, we touched on Flint, Michigan, mismanaged water systems is a big thing. The maintenance, the infrastructure, we've got forever chemicals within the system, microplastics, it's all in the media. But as we grow, and again, this is my opinion, I think there's a bit of a lag in regards to regulation, treatment plants being able to now cope with these newer style of pesticides or chemicals that man have made. So me personally, I think more education at school to get kids into water and understanding water technology, water filtration, because this is going to be a very important thing. And this type of curriculum isn't really taught. Like me personally, I've studied it like MSc level water tech, but there may have been in England there may have been maybe 20 people, and out of that 20 people, there was 15 from abroad. You know, sending people to the UK to study this. Yeah, but I think this needs to start from a very young age. You know, when kids are like 10 years old, there should be specific modules that we teach them in regards to water management, water tech, the legislation, you know, building that together. So it's building that mindset to like the younger generation, having the knowledge and the know-how and learning from past experiences of what was good and what was bad in regards to water supply networks. And I think this really needs to be something cemented with how, as society, we are to bring this forward. Because without this, you are going to rely on a select few to make the decisions on what water you drink and how it's provided. So,
Hey guys, we have a question from Instagram. And
fantastic.
this question sounds like this. Human interaction has changed with COVID. Has taste changed?
Yes. In regards to the taste of water, i.e., with COVID, from my understanding, the water supplies are doubling up, i.e., putting more investment into the water treatment plants, etc., to help with this pandemic. You know, for example, the pandemic's happening and the water supplies cut out would be a huge disaster. So, from my experience, things are really getting ramped up in regards to this. I know some of my colleagues in the water tech are looking at wastewater and looking at COVID strains within wastewater because it does travel through. However, the treatment to the water at the taps in my region wouldn't contain COVID because it's been treated in such a good fashion that it wouldn't happen. But yeah, but definitely COVID has definitely changed the way the operators and the infrastructure is updating a lot more rapidly than before COVID hit.
Yeah, and in the point of has the taste of water changed? I don't think that the taste of water has changed because the taste is depending on the region where you are living, and the taste of tap water always is depending on how the water is being treated until it is at your tap when you open it.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that you can say, okay, the taste of water has changed. I think the treatment for waters all around the planet has changed, has been rising up, but I don't think that the taste has changed. Here in Germany, we sometimes have issues with the tap water network, and sometimes they don't know why, and they don't know from where is the pollution coming, what's the matter. They don't know that, and when this happens, it's always that the taste is getting more chlorine because they're doing this chlorine into it because they don't know what is, and they say, oh, better not drink it, just take it for showering or bathing, but please, when you want to drink it or want to cook with that water, please make it very hot. How do you say that in English? Koche das Wasser, cook it. I don't know, what is the word? To
Boil it. Boil it.
Boil it, that's it. You have to boil it. So
yeah.
I don't think that the taste has changed in regards to COVID. So my opinion.
Does everybody have their local tap water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we, as we're talking about taste, should we describe taste?
Sure. And I think it's going to be interesting since all the water from our region has a different minerality level. So
That's right. That's right. Okay. Who would like to go first? Over to you, Pat.
Cheers.
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 when I grew up, I did not know who lucky we all are with our water. First, that we have, and second, the taste. Because I grew up in a region where we had water from the Bodensee, and the Bodensee is a real big inland lake in Germany. I think the biggest one, and the water from there is a good water. So I really loved it. And um, years ago, they changed the water supply. And when I asked our water supplier, "Hey, where does the water come from right now?" they told me, "Hey, it's yours." And I said, "What? What? We have ours? We have a source, a own source in our village?" And he said, "Yes, you have." And I'm drinking water from our own source, from my village, from my country, and so I'm very proud about that because it has real good taste. And so my all-day driver for my all-day hydration is a perfect water. And yes, I'm lucky because the other villages around us, they have other waters, they have mixtures of water. And when I got this analysis, I saw, hey, we we just have a real small problem with that water, but all in all, you can be proud of that own source. And the TDS of this water is very low. So I thought, what? It's just around 180 milligram per liter. So I was very um, irritated when I saw that because I thought it must be so much more. In Germany, it's most of the time between 400 and 1,000, stuff like that. So I was very excited. So that's what I can say. I'm happy with my tap water. Really.
If you could ask Rico, please, Justin.
Sure. じゃあ、ルリコさんの、水道水のその感想とか、まあもちろん、何でもいいんですが、まあ例えば、TDS とかでも、
TDS。
とか、味の感想とか、何でもいいですよ。
久しぶりに水道水を飲んだんですけど、だいたいいつも塩素の匂いがするんですけど、今日は美味しく飲めました。匂いがあまりしなかった。
So she doesn't usually drink the tap water, but today it's been a while, but she had a good drink of the tap water. She usually on a normal basis since the chlorine from the tap, but today she was able to enjoy.
で、あとは、ローミネラルの水であるということ。ローミネラルの水道水をやっぱり日本は美味しく飲むことができるのかなと改めて思いました。
In Japan in general, it's really low minerality, so I think in a lot of regions, I think most of people should be able to enjoy tap water, delicious. Yeah, taste good. Okay.
Very good. And how about yourself, Justin?
ちなみに TDS はいくつぐらいかご存知でしょうかね。
ちょっと今、スケールでやってますね。ハードネスだとだいたい70なんですよ。TDS も変わらないですね。だいたいハードネスが50から70って言われてるんですけど、TDS で70が出てます。
Okay, so the hardness level of her water is about 50 to 70.
Oh,
but
wow.
But when it's TDS, it's also about 70 as well. So it's quite low. So it must be really nice soft water in major part of Japan. And on the other hand, in California water, in Torrance, so to be honest, this is just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm extremely sensitive to the smell of the chlorine, and especially in my region, the chlorine is a bit strong on me.
Okay.
And yeah, so also the water is the TDS around 450.
Right.
So I mean, it's not really hard, but it's quite up there for the tap water.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. I don't usually drink tap water on my normal basis, but so it's been a while for me to enjoy the tap water as well. But it's actually not too bad at all.
Very
Yeah,
good.
it's
Do
definitely
you
acceptable.
do you filter or do you buy like jug water or what's your sort of daily hydration from the tap?
Tap wise, I don't really use the reverse osmosis
Yeah.
much. I pretty much use the tap water straight when I cook,
Yeah.
because it's not really gonna affect much with the the smell of the chlorine when you actually cook them.
Yeah.
So with my lot of cooking, for instance, I do a lot of Italian cooking. So like I use pasta, for instance. I use a lot of salt in my pasta water anyway, so it's not really gonna affect the taste. Uh, I know a lot of people out there with extremely sensitive palates, but I don't think it's not really going to affect with the cooking with the tap water too much. Yeah, depending on how you use. Of
Very-
course, if you use Vichy Catalan like me with my cooking, that's a whole
Yeah.
different story. But when it comes to more with like pasta use or maybe even for soup, it's not going to be too bad.
Very good. Very good. So hit right here, I've got Thames Water, which is the primary water supplier for London. So I would say, like, taste wise, it's in the region. I've got my TDS meter here, so I've just got a jug of water here. So it's in the region of about 350 on the TDS, which is a medium sort of hardness water because where we live, it's got a lot of calcium and chalk layers as part of the geology of London. Taste wise for the water, I would describe it in the sense of it feels pretty heavy on the palate. It's kind of like a sort of Borsec from Romania, pretty heavy. You can definitely taste the minerals within the water. It's not overpowering, but then you do get a faint taste of chlorine, which for me, where I do drink tap water, it's not something that's overpowering, etc. But definitely where I have the option at my house to filter, and I use aquaporin to filter um, my tap water, you can definitely taste a difference. But depending on how I feel in the morning, just grab some tap water. And to be fair, I drink the tap water just to give thanks, just to say, you know what, I I could do this. My family drink it, my kids drink it, and the taste wise, it's good. Um, you do get that, like I said, that faint taste of chlorine, but without that chlorine being in the water, I think I don't think I'd be here being having this conversation with you because of microbiological growth, etc. However, I do find that you see a huge collection of waters behind me. I filter my tap water for my, as Pat says, the daily driver, that daily hydration every morning. That is my first thing. So taste wise, I think thank you Thames Water if you're listening, or if you're going to listen later. Thank you for this. What, in my opinion, it is very, very good tasting water. Um, I have the options for filtration to knock out the taste of chlorine, and when you do, that water tastes pretty awesome. It tastes better to me personally. So yeah, that's my sort of taste review really. And we're hitting about a pH of a 7.4, so it's a very neutral water. So yeah, it's just been sitting in here. So there we go. So yeah, I think just to wrap up, I think it's a very, very special thing that our international team here can drink tap water safely and reliable. And I think It's been interesting today discussing with all of like you guys in regards to the drinking water culture in each country, and yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, there is one more thing I want to add. Fine Liquids was born because I went on my journey to find the very best water on the planet. This was a question in the review now. I think, oh my god, how could you go on a journey for the best water in the world? Because I recognized, after all, there is no best water in the world, but there are several very, very best waters. And this is the gift of nature. Some may say this is the gift of God. And however you say, um, everybody who has access to tap water is lucky. And you should be aware of that. And this is nothing religious. This is nothing fundamental. This is something human. Because we are 65 to 75% made out of water. And when you have access to a good water, you are made out of good water. And so my wish for this planet is that we can stop these big companies stealing water from the ground, that we really make water to a human right
Yeah,
with every consequences, so that every child on this planet has access to safe water. This is my goal, and this is my message with Fine Liquids. For all people out there, we are doing this job because the brands we have in our portfolio, most of them are keeping their environment clean, looking for their sources, bringing people into jobs, and looking for a good story in water. And this is what we want to do with the Fine Liquids community too. And
yeah,
so I think this is something really necessary for you to know, because this is our intent. This is coming from the heart. And this is not religious. This is just passion about water and nothing more. So we really invite you to taste your water, experience your water, get a new view on your water. Yes. And that's it from me for this weekend and for this show. So, any other words from you, Millen, Justin, Rurico? Do you want to say anything more before we close the show for today?
yeah. Of course. Just real quickly, it's reducing that divide of the haves of clean access to water and the individuals that don't. And I think it would be so amazing where water was distributed equally. Um, it's a big challenge, but it has to happen. Things need to change to where everybody and we're not creating water wars. There's many people that mention this word out there. It's starting to happen, and I think as a collective, as a society, this needs to stop and just put the brakes on everything and just draw a line to enable safe, clean water for everybody around the world.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Oh, Justin.
Yeah, so probably the message that I would love to deliver at last is um so I mean I want you all to take advantage of our tap water, and at the same time everybody has their preference of drinking water. So I mean if you like to drinking from the filtration, that's great. If you like drinking from tap, drinking from the fine water like from the nice glass bottles, that's great too. It's really up to your preference, and that's what it's all about the you know water rights, and that's just one thing I want to mention.
Very good. And if you could ask for Rico.
Yes, andルリコさん最後に一言
ってこと。
言って。
はい。 日本が安心で安全な水道水を飲むことができるのは、実は浄水の方法が日本では3つ使われているんですけど、アメリカの技術とイギリスの技術とドイツの技術が使われています。皆さんのおかげで日本は安心で安全で美味しい水道水を飲むことができています。っていうのをね、まず言いたかったんです。
それは面白いですね。So in Japan, there's actually 3 reasons that Japan is able to drink a very, very safe water. And that's because of through the technology of the US and the UK and the Germany. And that's so because of these 3 countries in Japan that we are able to drink safe water in Japan.
それからちょっと紹介をさせていただきたいんですけど、海外では水道水がペットボトルとしてたくさん販売されていますが、日本は水道局がより美味しい水を届けたいということをアピールするために、例えば東京の水道水の水だったり、例えばこれは福島の水道水の水だったり、その土地の水道水がご当地の水として販売されています。
So in Japan, there are a lot of international water that's imported to the country. However, in Japan, the government is pushing hard to sell out the really good points that the Japanese tap water is also great too. So right in front of Rico, there's 3 bottled waters, but these are all actually a tap water from a specific region from Japan, and they really want to push it out that these regions have a great tap water too.
Fantastic.
で水道水に塩素が含まれてますけど、その塩素のおかげで感染病の予防ができて、安心な生活を私たちは送ることができているので、私たちは水道水に感謝しなくてはならないといつも思っています。
So, I mean, of course, the tap inside our tap water, there's a lot of, there's chlorine as well, but these chlorine is something that's protecting us from the pathogens and keeping us safe.
Yes, definitely. And I think everything in life has a positive and a negative, and it's in a way accepting what's good and looking at ways to improve it so you can be more reliant on tap water, respect that element of tap water so that it is a continued safe, reliable supply for future generations as well. So I must say this was a very interesting topic. I think we could spend another 3, 4, 5, even a day just talking about this subject, but I think maybe we introduce this onto the next shows just to discuss a little bit more about the sources, etc. I don't think 1 hour has given it justification, but yeah, no, thank you. It's been very, very interesting discussing this with you all.
Really,
Okay.
really. I want to send some wishes from Germany to Japan, and I hope that your Olympics will be successful, and I hope you will have a good time with that. So I want to close this show now, and I want to say something to the Instagram users. We lost the connection, I think, 15 minutes before with my account. I don't know if you, Millen, just provided it too to this morning, but we lost the connection. And all I want to say is, hey, we will bring this show on YouTube too, and so you can look for the last 15 minutes you lost right now. So sorry, therefore, we have to check that for the next time so that this bug does not come back. And yeah, so we wish you a very, very nice weekend with some sunny hours, maybe with the family. Keep cool, keep safe and healthy, and have a nice time. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night. Yes. Bye bye, LA.
お疲れ様でし
お疲れ様でした。
Go to the source.
た。ごめんなさい、いっぱい喋っちゃってね。
あ、いえ、むしろ嬉しいですよ。なんか普段ちょっとね、
Go enter the stage. Hello, it's showtime.